Hello and welcome to Soccerlens TV. I'm Andy Brassel. Now we're going to be looking back at the Champions League action from this week. Now I talked about it a bit as a guest on this week's Soccerlens podcast with Adrian Clark and Ian Sprague, where you will again be subjected to my own very personal brand of speaking for ages without drawing breath. How do I survive? Through the love of football. That's how I survive without breath. Anyway, we're going to be looking forward to the semi-finals and all that sort of stuff on that, so check that out for sure. But what I wanted to concentrate on here is how the progress of the four semi-finalists, and of course 4 teams from different countries for the first time in a while, no English semi-finalists for the first time since 2003, how that will affect their own league campaigns, because of course all 4 of those teams still have realistic chances of winning their domestic title. We're going to start with Bayern, who of course mounted that tremendous comeback to win in Manchester, just as they mounted a tremendous comeback to win the game in Munich. So really for them, that Munich game could be key to their entire season. The fact that Manchester United are very, very comfortable at 1-0 until that rather fortuitous Franck Ribéry goal brought Bayern back into it, and they snatched the game at the end from United, just as United had from them all those years previously in 1999 in the final in Barcelona. Now really I think this has given Bayern an extraordinary lift for the rest of their season. They were really, really impressive in regaining the Bundesliga lead at the weekend against Schalke. A Schalke side who've been in really tremendous form under Felix Magath, of course the reigning Bundesliga title holder with Wolfsburg as he was last season. So especially with 10 men after Hamid Altontop was sent off, the way that Bayern toughed it out, didn't give Schalke many chances, really bodes well for their chances of retaining their domestic title, and they took that never say die attitude into the game against United. Now they're absolutely blown away in the first half, but nevertheless managed to scrap a goal back from Ivica Olic, who of course is so important to them. There's a guy who never gives up, and then they went through just as they had in the last round on away goals, thanks to a goal scored in defeat, a terrific goal scored in defeat by Arjen Robben. You thought you couldn't top the goal he scored against Fiorentina. Well, it was a tremendous volley at Old Trafford. Judge each one on your own merits, they're both absolutely fantastic. But this really has shown that Bayern have a real soul to the team, as well as players like Robben and Ribéry, who can make it count at key moments even when the team is under the cosh. Now, if we look at Inter, it's maybe had the reverse effect on their league form, their progress in the Champions League. It's almost as if Serie A has become a little bit too easy for them, and they've become rather preoccupied with the Champions League, making strides that they're not used to. Of course, they're always set up in a very solid way. They've got a very experienced team. Well, they also have a tremendous playmaker now in Wesley Sneijder, who's giving them a completely new dimension. And he showed that domestically earlier in the season, and he still shows that domestically, but he's been particularly brought to bear this influence in the Champions League, and he was key, of course, in the win over Chelsea. He again scored the winning goal in the away leg against CSKA Moscow, which saw Mourinho's team safely through to the semi-finals. But again, looking back at Serie A, you wonder if they are taking their eye off the ball. They've become a little too used to winning the title a bit too easily, but now they've got genuine competition from Milan and especially Roma. And how will they cope with this? Well, of course they swatted away Milan in the last derby back in January, just when it looked as if things were getting on top of them. They proved their class down to 9 men eventually, and winning that game pretty comfortably, showing really how much better they are than Milan. But when it came to playing Roma in the Olympic Stadium a couple of weeks ago, Roma came out on top, and Claudio Ranieri's side are unbeaten now for 23 games. They're looking really, really strong, and of course they have nothing else to concentrate on, having been out of the Europa League. So whether Inter, and I do believe genuinely that they have a decent chance in their semi-final against Barcelona, can sustain their challenge on both fronts, something they're really not used to, is open to question, and will be a real test of Mourinho's managerial mettle, if nothing else. Now, if we go on to France, of course, Lyon were the winners of the all-French semi-final. Very, very tight affair. An open, enjoyable first leg, Not so many chances in the second leg, but no less tense. And it was only a tremendous save from Hugo Lloris, from Vendel, right near the end of that game at the Chaban Delmar, that stopped Bordeaux going through on away goals. Of course, he is a player who will be important in the World Cup for France. I think he'll get a lot of work with the state of their defence at the moment, and we'll see where he might end up after the World Cup, or perhaps even a year later, when Lyon are widely believed to aim to sell him for quite a lot of money. But it's interesting to see how Bordeaux will recover from this. Now, they've suffered a couple of really damaging defeats after looking really in control of everything at the turn of the year. They were tremendous getting through their Champions League group with 16 points, an absolutely extraordinary record, especially in a group that involved Juventus and Bayern Munich too. They got through Olympiacos too, but this first leg defeat at Lyon was the second part of them getting really unstuck after they were battered by Marseille in the League Cup final, and they're finding it hard to recover from this. Of course, they did well to make a good fist of it last night, and I don't think many people would think it was a gross miscarriage of justice were they to have gone through at Lyon's expense. As I say, it was very, very tight. But now they've suffered a couple of real psychological blows, and having had their lead eroded in the French title race, of course, they're down in fifth at the moment, with Marseille having won their game in hand and being top. It's very, very tight at the top there. I don't know how well placed they are to come back. I think maybe Marseille are perhaps even marginal favourites to go on and take the French title now. Of course, this is a French title that Lyon still have a realistic hope of getting. Because it's so close at the top there, they could even miss out on a Champions League place with a couple of bad results. That's how close it is. The top six have all still got a chance. But on the other hand, their morale will be tremendously boosted by getting through to this Champions League semi-final against Bayern, who, as you'll be hearing in the Soccerlens podcast with Adrian and Ian, Lyon have a very, very good record against Bayern. Puel's side, they're expensively assembled, but there's a real heart, real spirit there, just as we were saying about Bayern, in fact. There's hope for them that they can manage to continue on both these fronts, which leaves us just with Barcelona. I suppose you think, what sort of show is this if we don't mention Leo Messi? He's been absolutely tremendous, of course, and he deserves huge credit for his contribution against Arsenal and for Barcelona over the entire season. I think that there are so many other elements of Barcelona that we have to look at, and Xavi was incredibly important to them in both legs against Arsenal. Now you wonder how will they cope, especially going into the Clásico with Real Madrid, who, having been knocked out of the Champions League by Lyon, have no such European distraction. Really, I think it's so important for Barcelona that they've kept going on both fronts. People look at them and think they have a small squad, but for them, as the reigning European champions, I think it would have been such an incredible blow to their morale before the Clásico had they gone out against Arsenal. Of course, they will face two very physically taxing matches against Inter. We know Mourinho's lot are a very tough side, but nevertheless, I think Barcelona have been there as far as keeping it going on all fronts in all competitions before, and the way they're playing, I think really it's about keeping a rhythm, and especially keeping Messi in a rhythm, and that's going to be key for them as far as the league title and the Champions League defence goes until the end of the season. Anyway, thanks for joining us. There's some Europa League stuff to look forward to later. Great weekend of football all over Europe as normal. If you want to send me any questions, get in touch below here, tweet me. Look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you again next week.